thing was, your girl was high. Your girl was real high.
My God, girl, that's who I be. From the top of my head to the soles of my feet.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining. Remember to like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video and you'll get notified every time I post. So do the right thing and support the channel, man. And this is a little awkward now because after me do this video 4 times already, and I'll try to do it again because the place noisy. 3 truck pass, 3 bikes, and some kids and music still in the background. What can a girl do to get a little quiet, a little peace and quiet, talk truth? But anyway, a few persons asked me, why I haven't posted any video. Have I stopped doing YouTube? Because I haven't posted like what, 2 Mondays, I don't know. So the thing was, your girl was high. Your girl was real high. So this was happening, right? I was having this twitching in my eyes, right? And I was like, I'll go and sleep it off, and the next day I never sleep it off. I still having it. And I realized now that the light of the TV was affecting me, and my phone light was affecting me. So I couldn't really do nothing. And so I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor's office, and the doctor was like talking to me. And mind you, I don't know one thing what the doctor said to me, because I went in sick, and normally if I'm sick, my brain don't really keep nothing, keep a thing. So he was like, I had a seizure in his office, because as I say, I went in sick, and he was like, we're gonna send you over to the hospital. So him send me go to the hospital, right? And when I went to the hospital, they were like, we're going to keep you, and they gave me some medication in the drip. And the doctor was like, this is focal seizure, and focal seizure focus on one part of your body, and mine focus on my eye, and a lot of things affect it, like light and stuff like that. So I wasn't having the shaking seizure all over my body, for that week. So I was just having focal seizures. So the next day now, I was going home like in the evening, and I got another drip, and he gave me a prescription, to get another medication for the seizure to take along with the medication when me already take. So I went home, and everybody was like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm high, like I feel so high, because most time, like after I get drip, I always feel a little tipsy, like me always feel a little dizzy, and I was like, cool, because I'm not that girl who's gonna like my back up me, like I'm not that girl. And so I started taking the new medications that they gave me. So I took 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. I went to my bed, and I woke up, and I was like, oh, me feel so, me not understand how me feel so dizzy. I felt like you think the drip did make me high? This year medication made me high. I felt like I was in a new land, yo. Like I was just talking, and I was just shopping. And I remember I got up, and I went to pee. Well, I never reached. I fell on the ground, yo. And instead of me call somebody to come help take me up or try get up, me just find something to lean my head, yo. And me decide to be I go sleep, because I was so weak. I never had no strength in my mouth to call anybody. But thanks be to God, mommy come, and mommy find me. And she helped me up, and it was like mommy said, I was like a drunk man. I like basically me Nina help get up, because me never have the strength. I was so sleepy, and I slept through the entire day. And the other day after that, I just slept. And when you're sleeping at the day, you couldn't go sleep back in the night. Not me, because guess what, I was high. You ever watch the movie when the girl they go and then drink and them have a hangover after? Me that. And I was throwing up, and I was like, what's this? So I googled, not me, because me never, mommy googled it, and she was like, the medication can cause that, and she checked somebody that she knew in the medical field, and it was like it could be the medication, and the fact that her body is not used to the medication, it could be causing her to have those symptoms. So fine, anything when Google said, me diagnose my own self. And I remember, because when they admit you in the hospital, normally they do a follow-up. So they told me to come back to the clinic on Tuesday. When I went back to the clinic, he was like, it's definitely the medications, it can cause you to have all those side effects. So me, I said, why me would I want to take one medication? We are gonna do, Mr. Sir. And she was like, so you still have it? Poor him never knows that me stop take the medication. Because I'm like, why would I want to take a medication that is doing me like that? And it was like the sickest I have ever been. I never feel so sick in my life ever, period. And so he was like, it's the medication and your body's not used to it, so it's going to do you like that. So I was like, okay, the rate is coming down. I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let you start on a lower dose, then you gradually so yeah, me just still forfeited the medication. But anyway, while I was going through that and in the hospital and everything, I remember before this happened to me, I watched a Sarah Jake's message, and the only thing that I could remember from the message was, will you worship me from a prison? The only thing I could remember from the message was that, and it just kept on repeating in my head the whole day, the next day, the following day, until one point I was like, all right, God, we get it. We kind of get it still. And while I was in the hospital, and I hate the hospital. I hate going to the hospital. It's not my place. I didn't want to look a peace and look a quiet, because I was in the A&E. So people are coming, people did it when no, so and I was just like, the noise, and that kept on repeating in my head, will you worship me from a prison, will you worship me from a prison? And like throughout the week, that kept on repeating in my head, will you worship me from a prison, will you worship me from a prison? And I was just like, all right, like, what is this saying? What is it? What does this mean? Why is this so important? Like, why is this just keep on repeating in my head? And throughout that season, throughout me being in the hospital and the medication doing me like that and still doing me like that, it motivated me, because I was like, the first time I said, I said, I probably could have, and I never really understood it till last week, and now me looking at it and like getting into it. So I decided, that I was going to read the story of Paul and Silas, because them the day in a prison, and it said, Paul, it's Acts 16, and I read in verse 25 now, and I'm going to put it on the screen, and it says, and at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto God, and the prisoners heard them. So, Paul and Silas was in prison, and they were singing. That's like they knew the power of praise. They knew what praise can do, and they know that praising God can move mountains. And another translation said they sang hymns, and I was listening to another sermon, and they were like, they sang hymns. Them not have hymnal in a prison, so they had it memorized in their head. They knew the hymnal, then they had it. When they said the word, you must have the word of the Lord in your heart. And I remember while I was in the hospital, and all that I could remember was, will you worship me from a prison? And I had a word in my prison moment. I had a word, to keep me going. I had a word, to keep me going. And the word in verse 26, it said, and suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prisons were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened and everyone's bands were loosed. that's the power of praising God, you know. That's the power of praising God. Like, God, praise can shake the foundation of your prison. And you know, it really motivates me so much to know the power of praise. You know, a lot of times we go to church and we are singing, you know, hallelujah, glory to God, but we are singing just because the moderator tell us to sing. We are singing, you know, but we don't get, sometimes we don't get the power or the message of the song until we're going through our dark seasons. You know, we get the power of the message of the song. And you know, I can only imagine Paul and Silas wasn't just singing and no pian praise, as they would say. I can just imagine them just singing and having faith that this can do something. This can shake the foundations, you know. This can do something, you know, because they knew the power of praise. And you know, it went on to say, and the keeper of the prison, awaking out of his sleep, and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had fled. Alright, imagine you then in one prison now, right? And the door them open. What you gonna do? What you are gonna do? Me, if you want to run, I am going to run. Like, nothing, you know. But Paul and Silas, them never run. So we are going down now. And he said, Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas, and brought them out and said, sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved and thy house. And they spake unto him the word of the Lord, and all that were in his house. So Paul and Silas, them never, even though the doors of the prison were open, them never run, them never gone away. Because you know what, I can just imagine that, you know, they had a plan, they had a purpose, they had a vision. You know, them they there for a reason. Them come here to preach the word, and them not left until them preach the word. And you know, that's how awesome it is, you know, when you know what God called you for. You know, when you know your purpose in the earth, it's just give you a different, you know, view of things, and a different, you know, look at things. And you know, I was watching a video that I made, you know, probably a few years ago or so. I didn't post it on YouTube. I probably should. And you know, I was watching it because I remember one day I was like, God, what is my purpose? Like, what's my purpose? I remember I got through my backup photos and I back up on the video. I was like, let me watch that video here. And I remember in the video I was saying that, you know, how can your purpose is of God. So the only way you can find out what your purpose is being on one accord with God, getting in tune with your spirituality. And I was like, wow, that's deep. So you can't find out your purpose until you have that like intimate relationship, until you're on one accord with God. That's how, you know, God is going to speak to you, and God is going to show you what he has called you to do. And you know, even though, you know, I'm saying right now that I feel like I am in a prison, because me having freedom, me not really can go nowhere. And that, you know, when you're in a prison, you don't have as much freedom. And you know, I can still do some things, you know, because when Paul and Silas were in the prison, even though they never have the freedom, they never lost their praise. You know, they can still praise, they can still pray, and they can still cry out to God. So will you still pray? Will you still cry out to God? Will I still pray? Will I still cry out to God? And I'm like, yes, Lord, you know. A lot of times I'm like, yes, Lord, I'll do this. But there are some days, you know, and I'm just like, yeah, you know what I mean? But they still prayed and they still cry out to God. And you know, when I was preparing for this and, you know, reading the verse, you know, I didn't write any notes. I was like, Lord, just use me. And I was there saying, wonder if God, not if, because I know that God have a purpose for me, and I know that God have a plan for me going through all of this. God have a plan. I was like, wonder why God now burst the gate and just let me out of this, let me just, you know. And I was like, wonder if God don't think I would just run away. Wonder if God just think I would just, even though I find out what my purpose is or what he has called me to do, when he opened the gate, I will just run. And he's still carrying me, he's still preparing me, because, he don't want me to run. He want me to stay and fulfill what my purpose, or fulfill what he has called me to do, just like Paul and Silas. And that it touched me on a deep level when that came into my mind. I was like, wow, because I remember when before this happened to me, and I was like, God, you know what, I'm putting my life in your hands, and everything, Lord, just take full control of my life. You lead and you direct, Lord. Everything is of you. And I rise up a little thing and I give God, even though I said that, like, not literally. And I was like, God, this is what I want, 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 and this is where I want to go, this is where I want to live, God. I plan out my entire life. And God must have did that, say, but not just she just tell me if you take full control, now she just tell me if it, and it must be, can imagine my call it couple of angel them and then come and say, look here and look here, look here, and he did that for put me under lockdown, and I realized so much things, throughout this. And I believe that God has so much things left for me to learn throughout this season, and he wants me to learn so much thing. He wants to increase my faith, and a lot of persons think that, I remember I was saying to somebody that, because they're like, you're so strong, you're so this and you're so that, and I was saying to somebody that, you know what, because some people like, how can you remain happy? How can you still smile? But I'm like, I've been through so much, sis. Brother, me got through too much, to walk around and assault. I fought for my joy, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna make any little thing take with my joy, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna like a little seizure take with my joy. I'm not gonna make a little twitching on my eye take with my joy, I've been through too much, and I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight to keep a smile on my face. And all the times people text me, people say something to me, where maybe in other days would irritate me, and I just text you something. And I was just like, one of the days somebody texted me something that's really rude, and I was like, you know what, I smile and I respond, and I was like that, I just respond with something really calm, something really peaceful. And this, I can't just, the person respond was like, because it was like, how can you, but me not give the authority to take with my joy, because I've fought so much to have it, and I'm not going to give anybody the authority to steal my joy. There are a few days when I just lose my joy, but I'm still fighting and I'm still going. And the question is, will you worship God from a prison? Different things have we in a lockdown, different things have we. Some people is anxiety, some people is fear, but will you worship God from a prison? Continue to worship God. So the praise with such a sincerity that the foundations of your prison will be shaken and you will be free. And even if you're free, sister, even if the gate open, still live in your purpose, especially if you have found out throughout your season of lockdown what your purpose is. Not just run, nobody turn your back on God, just continue to dig deeper, continue to dive deeper, and the lesson that you have learned, probably, even though it probably not gonna get easier, but God still prepare you for your season, and God still wants you, to be ready for whatever come. He's preparing you, he wants you to do ministry, whatever he wants you to do, whatever he has called you to do, just do it. Just do it, Bridget. Just do it, brother. So thanks so much for watching this video, guys, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna put the verse at the end, and remember, go read Acts 16, read the entire thing, read the entire book of Acts if you want, but just continue to stay humble and trust in God. Bye.